Hello students, welcome to ANALYST IAS. I am Ekta Sharma and once again here to discuss the questions given in ANALYST Weekly Part 5. Prelims examination is getting closer day by day and week by week. I'm pretty sure you must be all busy with preparation, you must all be busy with revisions and practicing as many questions as you can. And that should be the key. Do not panic, stay calm and do solve as many questions as you can, because as I've always said, to clear the prelims examination, one important key remains the solving of practice or solving or practicing the questions as much as you can, because that gives you confidence. It tells you how to attempt the questions, gives you strategy in advance before the examination. So that there's nothing new in the examination, there is no surprises in the examination. Without any further ado, let's start our question solving session. By now you might have already solved the questions that were given in ANALYST Weekly. I hope all your answers were correct, but just in case, let's see what the correct answers are and how to avoid the wrong answers. The first question given in today's or this time's ANALYST Weekly was, consider the following statements about ILO, that is International Labour Organization. Again, one of the very important, one of the very crucial international organizations, right? You might have read about International Labour Organization under United Nations. Just recall whatever you have read. Try to understand what are the current specifications or current changes or maybe current steps taken by ILO and try to attempt the question. The first statement says, ILO is the only tripartite UN agency which brings together governments, employers and workers. The second statement says, ILO is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. And the third statement says, World Employment and Social Outlook is the flagship report of ILO. Very simple, direct statements based on International Labour Organization. If you have not yet solved the questions, please pause the video right here and try to solve this question before moving ahead towards the solution. So the solution to this is, we have to pick the correct statement. Again, focus on this word, focus on this keyword, because as I've already said in the previous videos that this word sometimes you tend to ignore, and in that ignorance you tend to mark exactly the opposite what is asked from you. So this is a keyword, you have to pick the right answer. The options are 2 only, 3 only, both 2 and 3, or 1, 2 and 3. The answer to this is solution D, that is all the 3 statements, that is 1, 2, 3 are correct. Please try to understand that all the international organizations, these are important for your prelims. They might not be as important for your mains, but for your prelims, they are important, because various statement-based questions or questions related to recently released indexes or reports might be asked based on these organizations. For at least especially for your prelims examination, do look out for all the international organizations, at least the ones that were in news. Try to understand their structures, try to understand their working, their peculiarity, so on and so forth, so that you are prepared for any question related to such international organizations. So here, all the 3 statements are important. Moving on, and the answer is D. Moving on to the next question, that is, consider the following statements about electric vehicles. Now, electric vehicles they have been in news for quite some time. I think from last 4 to 5 years, electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles have been in news, and recently because of burning of it, there have been instances where electric vehicles have caught fire in the broad daylight, and this has brought a wide range of concerns towards the use of electric vehicles, the safety related to electric vehicles. So electric vehicles in itself, it is a very important topic. Please mark this topic: the technology, the pros, the cons. All these things are very important, especially in relation to electric vehicles. Please go through the whatever the government has come up, if there is a policy about electric vehicles, if there is recent news about electric vehicles, go through the topic thoroughly, because electric vehicles is one of the current topics that is in news and is important for your examination as well. Now, without any further delay, let's start reading our statement. The first statement is, e-Amrit portal is a one-stop portal of the Ministry of Heavy Industries for creating awareness about electric vehicle mobility through electric vehicles in India. The second statement says, electric vehicle policy has been announced by all states to promote India's transition from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. Right? So these are the two statements. Again, if you have not yet solved the questions, please take a pause the video right here, answer the question, and then move on towards the solution. Let's see. We have to pick the correct statement, the not correct statement, that is the incorrect statement from above. Right? We have to pick the statement that is not correct from the two statements. The options are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. The answer to this is solution B. Let's see what B is. That is, second statement is not correct. So, which is the incorrect statement? The second statement, it is not correct. What is the problem with this statement? See, the statement says that this policy has been announced by all states, whereas it is wrong that all the states have announced this policy. Rather, only 20 states have come up with a draft policy for electric vehicles, right? So this is the answer. Let's move on to the next question. Consider the following statements about PM Swanidhi scheme. Now, as I've already said many times in my previous videos, that any scheme, when we deal with schemes, it is important that you must know which ministry has introduced or launched the scheme, right? Which ministry, year of launch, departments or department related to the scheme, the goals or objectives of the scheme. These are certain important areas where you need to understand, or under which you need to understand a particular scheme. See, if you divide a scheme in these headings or under these headings, it is going to be beneficial for you, because eventually you will remember what are the various headings, what are the various the relevant details of the headings, and it will be easier for you to answer the question. So let's see what the statements are. The first statement is, the PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, PM Swanidhi, has been launched by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment for providing affordable working capital loans to street vendors. This is the first statement. There are multiple things given in the very first statement itself. It talks about the full name of the scheme. It talks about the ministry that has launched, and it talks about the objective of the scheme. So you can see that in the very first statement we have covered 3 important headings related to this scheme. The second statement is Swanidhi se Samriddhi, an additional program. Okay, there is another program, additional program of PM Swanidhi, under which beneficiaries are also linked to the existing welfare schemes of the government. Again, see, it is another heading, right? If there is an extension of the scheme, it is, what is this? Extension of PM Swanidhi scheme, another program in addition to this very scheme, right? So let's see what we have to do. We have to pick the correct statement. The options are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. The answer to this is solution B. Now let's see what B is. B is that only the second statement is correct. What is the problem with the first statement? The problem with the first statement is in relation to this ministry. See, the ministry is, the correct ministry is not given. In fact, the wrong ministry is given here. The correct ministry is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Okay, so this is the ministry that has launched this, that is related to this scheme, not the Ministry of Social Justice. Now, the scheme was launched somewhere in 2020, right? It was to address the problems faced by the workers who have either lost their livelihood or basic working due to the COVID lockdown, COVID-19 lockdown. Okay, so this is the scheme. Please try to read about the scheme a little more further. Let's move on to the next question, that is, which of the following statements is or are correct? So we have to pick the correct statement. The first statement says, a geomagnetic storm is a disturbance in the Earth's magnetosphere, which is the area around the planet controlled by its magnetic field. The second statement says sunspots are the lighter areas on the solar surface and contain strong shifting magnetic fields. So these are 2 important statements, scientific statements based directly from your science portion. So these are the statements talking about the geomagnetic storms. The first statement says that these are the disturbance in the Earth's magnetosphere, which is the area around the planet controlled by the magnetic field, and the second one talks about the sunspots. So here we have to choose the correct option, the correct statements. The options given here are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. The answer to this is solution A, that is only the first statement is correct, the second statement is not. So what is the problem with the second statement? Why the second statement is not right? Because sunspots are not the lighter areas. These are the darker areas on the sun. Right? You might have seen, if ever you have, if you ever get a chance, or if you have ever seen towards the sun, you will find that there are certain very light areas and there are certain very dark areas. In fact, if you see the picture of sun released by NASA, you can see that there are certain lighter areas, certain darker areas. Now, how do these 2 types of colors they emerge from the sun? What is the difference between the areas that are darker in color and what is the difference between and the lighter areas, right? So you need to understand that the darker areas are basically areas that have a less temperature as compared to the lighter areas, right? The lighter areas, they have higher temperature, the darker areas have less temperature because of the shifting magnetic field. The shift in magnetic field leads to the emergence of lower temperatures in certain areas of, and the shift in magnetic field is very quick and fast, and this leads to lower temperatures. In fact, the temperature variation can go as low as in generally an average of 6,000 degrees Celsius of temperature is expected. However, when there is a reduction in temperature from the 6,000 to approximately 4,200 degrees Celsius. Now, because of this reduction of temperature, because of the changing magnetic field, there is a reduction in temperature, and then this leads to emergence of these dark spots, right? Let's move on to the next question. The next question is, word occur in medieval India was used in context of what? Word occur in context of what? The first statement is tax-free land. The second statement is charitable trust. Third statement is revenue officer. Fourth statement is silver coins. Now these are the questions where you just cannot guess. You know the question. If you know the answer, then you know the answer. If you do not know the answer, if you have never read about it, then you cannot guess. In fact, you should not guess. So if you know the answer, mark it. If you do not know the answer, please do not guess and just leave the question. However, as far as this question is concerned, the correct answer to this is solution B, that is a charitable trust. So what happened is, in medieval India, sultans established charitable trusts for Sufi saints, and these charitable trusts were known as Waqf, right? So this is the answer to this question. Moving on to the next question, which of the following pairs is or are correctly matched? So we have to pick the correctly matched pair. Let's see what the pairs are. Here a term or a name is given, and here the meaning is given. We have done these similar questions in the previous videos also. Let's try to decode the meanings of these. The first one is bugyals. The meaning given is summer grasslands. Second one is karevas. The meaning is thick deposits of glacial clay. Third one is Mizoram. It has molasses basin. The fourth one is Bhangar, new alluvial deposits. Now we have to choose the correct option. The correct option is, the options here given are 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, both 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The answer to this is solution A. That is, only 1, 2, 3 are correct, whereas the fourth one, this one is not. So this is a very, again, Bhangar is a very direct term from your geography. Bhangar means old alluvial deposits, right? And Khadar, they mean the new alluvial deposits. Okay, so these are the two terms. Bhangar does not mean new alluvial deposits. No, it means old alluvial deposits, right? Very direct, very simple question. Now moving on to the next question. Who was the first sultan to visit Khwaja Moinuddin's Dargah? Again, a very direct question and a question where you should not guess, right? The first question, the first sultan to visit Khwaja Moinuddin's Dargah was either A. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, Iltutmish, C. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. D. Alauddin Khilji. The answer to this is solution B, that is Iltutmish. Iltutmish was the first sultan to visit Khwaja Moinuddin's Dargah. Next question. Consider the following statements about Residex. Okay, Residex is another term, another important current affairs that you must go through at least before your examination. So Residex, the first statement says about Residex is it is India's first official housing price index, which was launched by National Housing Bank. The second statement says the index is designed to track changes in housing prices at neighborhood, city and national level. Now, houses pricing index is another area, another arena which has gradually become important for the investors and for the bankers, so on and so forth. So this index talks about the national housing, the overall housing prices in the country, right? So these are the statements. Which of the above statements is or are, we have to pick the correct statement. The terms here given, or the options given are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. The answer to this is C, that is both 1 and 2. Both the statements are correct, right? So just try to read furthermore about Residex. This is an important topic, can come as a question in your prelims exam. Moving on to the next question. The CAG of India can be removed from office in similar manner and on same grounds like. Very direct question from your polity. I think this is something which everybody knows most of the time. The theoretical, the static part, or the questions related to static part, they are not asked, right? They are gradually, the UPSC is becoming more dynamic and moving towards more dynamic questions, more analytical questions. However, if you find a direct question from the static part, then it is a win-win situation. So this is one of those questions. So CAG of India, the Comptroller Auditor General of India, can be removed from office in similar manner and on same grounds like. The options are Speaker of Lok Sabha, Attorney General of India, Supreme Court Judge, Chairman of UPSC. Again, try to solve this question if you have not yet. Just see, test your knowledge here, because again, this is a static part. You must have read this multiple times. You just need to give yourself a little time and recall the answer. So the answer to this is solution C, that is Supreme Court Judge. So a CAG, a Comptroller General of India, can be removed on the grounds of or in the similar manner as the Judge of Supreme Court of India. So these were the questions in our Analyst Weekly 5. Please keep solving the questions as much as you can, because this is going to be very beneficial for you guys. You just need to have the practice of solving these questions, and believe me, one day you will realize, one day you will come to me and you will tell me, "Ki ma'am, yes, the mantra you gave us for the prelims examination, that is solving as many questions as possible, it really worked for us," right? Because prelims, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much you have read, until and unless you are in practice of solving these objective questions, it is very difficult to, maintain that calm and compose in the examination hall. So do practice as many questions as you can. Keep practicing, keep learning. Hope the lecture was helpful for you. Thank you so much. Stay safe, keep studying.